Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Three Uniques. I've got Graham Roque here today. Hey Graham, how are you doing?
I'm good, Brenda. Can't complain. It's so sunny outside. I can't wait to go and enjoy my summer.
I know, it's amazing. So Graham and I have known each other for a few years. We've worked together in our past, or my past lives in jobs that we've been in. Graham comes to us, he's got a plethora of IT experience, networking experience, and always like a good guru or go-to for me to ask questions about. And he's also really curious about leadership development, about managing people, and also bringing out the best in people. So Graham, welcome. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah. Thanks, Brenda, for the opportunity. I'm just glad to be in a podcast with so many unique people in Vancouver. Thank you for bringing that up out of everybody.
Yeah, no, it's been a really fun experience just meeting people and hearing about their three uniques. So before we get into yours, can you share a little bit more about yourself with the audience?
Absolutely. So that's one of the hardest questions I have to answer. I had to walk a lot, bike a lot, hike, just to find out how can I tell the world about myself. Well, here it is. My name is Graham Roque, and I'm a problem solver. I love to solve problems, whether they're technical, whether they're not technical, and it just excites me. I'm always up for a challenge, and I think just problem solving just sparks up my curiosity and therefore motivates me to try to find a solution.
Amazing. So we're here today to learn about your three uniques. So can you share them with us?
For sure. So the three uniques, just like how other people in your podcast, is very hard to find. So I had to look inside, I had to look outside, and one place I didn't look is I didn't ask my peers. So I had to really focus on trying to find out my own uniques personally and to come up with three of them. So done my research. It's a great self-learning experience, but my three uniques are: number one, I make an environment fun. Number two, I have really good emotional memory. And number three, I'm always trying to find a way to make myself more unique.
Amazing. Okay, let's go up to the top. Let's hear the first one. Can you share with us again and why that is?
Yeah, so for me, as a problem solver, I always find that solving problems in a group is a lot more fun than having to do it yourself. And in today's society, you can only do so much on your own. But what I find is that when you work with others and you find a way where you two can connect or the group can connect uh, on a certain objective, then we can really find a way to find how our passions all align. And once we do that, it's easier to cultivate the environment to make sure that not only are we trying to face a challenge that's extremely hard, but we're going to have fun doing it. And I think when everyone has fun when trying to solve something or working together, it allows for a bigger output for everybody. And when that happens, it's like you will know that person not just for the time that you worked with them, but for many years. As we continue to live, you'll be like, hey, let's go try this. We worked together in the past. And I think that just being able to do that just builds really long-term relationships. And I mean, why would you want to not solve a problem and not, be very unhappy? Might as well make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think leadership is shifting, right? In the past, leadership would have been like, okay, I'm a leader and it's expected of me to come up with all the answers, all the solutions, make decisions on every single problem. And now, like, we've got so many different people coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, different experiences. People are moving around in more companies. Before it used to be you'd be in a company for 20 years and you just knew how things worked. Now people are moving like every 2 to 5 years. And so they have this experience where they could say, hey, I tried this in this other organization, or I tried this in this other team. Why not try and tap into those other solutions besides just all putting the pressure on yourself to come up with it?
Absolutely. I think that in today's society, it's all a two-way trade. They learn from me, I learn from them, and we both get better. And that's, I think, how we establish long-term relationships and cultivate a group of great leaders and managers.
Right. That's amazing. And your number two?
Um, Emotional memory retention. So I have very good memory. Not like, book smart memory where I would read a paragraph and understand like exactly how that paragraph was written, but more like I remember all the moments. Like I still remember the time where I had meetings with you, and if you're like, hey, you remember this time, I can probably take like 5 minutes, I can pull it up. So what's so unique about that is it allows me to not repeat the same problem twice. So if I fail at one thing, I remember what it's like, and I'm like, okay, well, let's not repeat that again. And also it allows me to remember all the small things. So like when I'm working with someone new, when we have an interaction, they tell me exactly what they're passionate about, or like little things about themselves. I just remember that for a long period of time, and out of nowhere I'm like, oh, do you remember when you said this? And the next thing you're like, oh, I totally forgot about that. I'm like, oh, so remembered it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's helped me to where I am today. It's something that's very unique to me, and I'm just glad that I'm blessed with that ability.
It must make people on the receiving end of that feel really special and connected to you. The fact that you remember, but also to remember, you would have had to have listened, right? Like
Yeah.
to actually get that memory imprinted upon your memory brain, you would have had to have listened to that conversation or been really watching or observing an interaction play out for you then to remember that level of detail. So people must feel like a great sense of appreciation knowing that you paid attention.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have a pretty short attention span, but I'm just so curious. To me, it's like people are kind of like planets. We would rotate, and sometimes we would align, and that's the moment that we can share together. And why not, right? You live X amount of minutes in your life, and just being able to appreciate that with someone else for say 10, 15 minutes, just like this podcast, might as well take advantage of it. Let's just say I'll never forget this.
Amazing. And your third unique?
It's the search of being more unique. And to me, this is probably my very best one. It's always constantly changing your character, learning from others, learning what's good and what's not good, and always trying to adapt with the times. So I'm a big fan of wrestling, and wrestlers have to always reinvent themselves. And I've taken that to my own personality, where I try to learn from everyone. Like for example, I just watched the Last Dance documentary by Jordan, and I learned about his killer instinct. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna take some of that. I'm gonna take the good side. I'm gonna look at the bad side and say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna take the bad side. I'm gonna make it my own. I'm gonna take his killer instinct and make it my own, and then I'm gonna make it unique to me. And I do that for just about everyone I meet, regardless if you're Michael Jordan or if you're a new help desk person. And to me, that provides me energy. And I love to learn from other people because there's only so much you can learn on your own.
That's amazing. That's so great. I love them. I watched also, I'm only halfway through the Michael Jordan Last Dance, but it's pretty incredible to see the legacy that he's created. So, and the people that he's like spent a lot of time with in his life.
Right? Yeah. It's when you look at that with the ferociousness, and I'm like, man, I don't want to punch a coworker. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is try to set that example. And if Jordan can do it, I can do it. And I mean, I'm not playing basketball as my day-to-day job, but I'm trying to pretend like it is, where Monday is game day, and in order to have a successful game day, you need to make sure you practice, you make sure you watch videos, you make sure you're prepared and you're ready to go. And that's the kind of example I set, and I think that it rubs people off the right way, and next thing you know, they're planning their week. So I'm like, great.
Amazing. So Graham, what's one thing that people get wrong about you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think um sometimes where I could be very ferocious and fast, and and sometimes I look at something, I'm like, oh, it's a problem. I got to go fix it. And next thing you know, I would go out of my way and do it. And then you're like, oh, Graham, you're not following the rules and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, I think that for me, it's about knowing that I always have it with good intentions, and I'm only doing it once, and I'm always willing to collaborate. I'm not a person who would just say it's my way or the highway. I would definitely listen and make sure that we can find a way to collaborate in the future, even though I try to do something my way, experiment. And I mean, life is all about experimentation. Nothing is ever right or wrong. And that's the way I kind of live my life. So to answer that question, what is kind of like wrong about me, or
Not wrong, but they get wrong about you. Yeah.
get wrong? Yeah.
Yeah.
That this guy might just be like, sometimes he'd go 0 to 100 like Elon Musk. I'm like, no, that's not me at all. That's not me.
Okay, awesome. And what's one thing that you're reading or curious about or investigating into right now?
I am reading a book that is, actually, I was just reading it. It is called High Output Management, and by Andrew S. Grove from Intel.
Okay.
And I learned so much about this book. I think it's my like 8th or 9th book that I've read this year, and every single book that I've read, I at least took 10 to 20% of it. But this one has really kind of opened my eyes on, okay, basically the people management part of it. Like, how do you get more output out of somebody? Well, the only way to really do that is to either, one, make them work X amount of hours and but then they might just be burnt out, they might hate their job. Or second is, how do you motivate them so they get more output? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna focus more on the motivational piece. And I just don't want to be too over motivational, but it's still something where I had to find out how I'm gonna make it my own unique style. Almost done the book. I'm like 72% in, and quite frankly, I like it. And I think I'm gonna go and read another management book after on something else. So I think that's my journey right now.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Graham, for being on today. It's been great learning about your 3 uniques. Did you enjoy the time?
I certainly did. I think it's not, I mean, this is quite short, but to find your uniques is like, it's a 7-minute podcast, but it probably took me 70 hours to try to find the 3 uniques. So it's been a journey all the way for 7 minutes, but hey, that's, I like it. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And thanks everyone else for tuning in today. And just want to encourage you to go out there, spend the 70 hours like Graham did, discovering what your 3 uniques are, get on video, share them with the world, be on LinkedIn, be on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you socialize online, and share your 3 uniques with the world. Somebody out there, between 8 billion people on this planet, will need your 3 uniques. Take care, everyone. Take care, Graham.
Take care, everyone.